Hello und grüezi. Can Europe be saved? What do empty churches, full mosques, and a recent editorial of the Swiss bi-weekly, normally critical, political publication Die Weltwoche have all in common? These are all symptoms and expressions of the same misguided perception of reality. The Great Replacement Project has become mainstream, expressed not only in the legacy media, which of course is completely biased and fanatically pro-globalization. The latest convert seems to be Roger Köppel, chief editor of Die Weltwoche. In his article he shows outright admiration for Angela Merkel's unwavering political style, which led to her catastrophic open-door policy. Somehow, his conclusion implies that Europe shall be better off with her remaining in the center of power. It has to be understood that Die Weltwoche is the last bastion of independent and critical thinking in the Swiss and German-speaking media landscape. For me, it looked nothing short but a capitulation. Therefore, the first conclusion, most probably Europe can't be saved. It still seems likely that Mrs. Merkel from CDU-CSU and Mr. Schulz from SPD will form a coalition government and will continue together the great project of changing and building a socially and ethnically new European superstate. Many articles have been published and lots of talking has been done. What remains is the daily reality of life in each of the still European nation states. At the end of this video, I will add another reality story from my recent trip to Switzerland. Yes, Switzerland can be proud of its achievements. As reported in my immigration project video, we officially have got 25% foreigners living in our country and 37% of our population, age of 15 and above, have got a migration background. This according to official figures of the Swiss Statistical Office for the end of 2016. In the northern neighboring countries, the figures and trends are similar, and slowly social cohesion and unity is falling apart too. The only exception is a bloc of Eastern European countries. Poland, Hungary, Slovenia and Czech Republic have chosen to follow a traditional path of protecting their peoples and heritage with strict border rules and disobedience to senseless migration quota orders from Brussels. Not coincidentally, in most of these nations the Catholic faith plays a vital role and is cherished by its people. Logically, this results in an up to 95% reduced migration influx, which is measurable in absolute numbers, high approval ratings for these governments and generally increased happiness of its individual population. In contrary, the root cause for the slow-motion cultural suicide drama which is now unfolding in the Central and Northern European countries is the direct result of abandoning traditional European cultural values. The concept of traditional family, country borders and Christianity is in massive decline of epic proportions. Our churches are empty because the millennial generation Y and the baby boomers generation X are hooked and dependent on a lifestyle of digital self-realization and narcissism of the highest order, which in turn has replaced traditional Christian moral values and Christian faith as a whole. Furthermore, for the first time since separation of state and church in Europe, the mainstream political agenda seems to be in tune and echoed by the predominant neoliberal destructive undercurrent in society. social network has become a tool for easy indoctrination of the masses, and most of the Western governments are pushing beyond belief towards a brave new, multicultural, multi-ethnic utopian world order. Both forces have consciously chosen to abandon the previously mentioned traditional values. The result is an empty society, disoriented and stripped of its soul, and masses of people who are in desperate search of a replacement for the lost spirituality. Not surprisingly, this results in misguided and often perverted mass events like street parades, where a hedonistic body culture and fetishism is on public display. Simultaneously, most of the Western governments are tolerating the decline of moral values, questioning traditional family values, giving up their border protection and banning Christian traditions from public life. At the same time, these governments are pushing relentlessly towards a big social change and ultimately and tirelessly working towards dissolving nation-states and replacing the traditional European peoples with a new ethnically mixed race which will have no roots in their own and are the perfect new global citizens. In other words, they are paving the way for their own destruction and demise. Not only in Europe Christianity is under threat. In 2 studies, for the 2nd year in a row, Christians have been declared the most persecuted followers of a faith in the world. In 2016, up to 90,000 Christians have been murdered due to their beliefs. The mosques are full because Muslims are members of a belief system which contains a political ideology, a law system and a religion. This orientation is non-existing, and from birth until death, any life issues are trusted in the hands of Allah. There is no scrutinizing, no hesitation, no abandoning of the doctrine. Everything is regulated, orderly and predictable. At the same time, Muslim societies are very homogeneous and do not allow faith mixing. Western capitalistic excesses like greed and self-enrichment are mostly kept in check by an Islamic banking codex. The strict rules don't allow capital interest accumulation, speculation and gambling. These are the 3 pillars of the Islamic banking system. Because of all these reasons, the Islamic belief system is very powerful and poses a real and mortal threat for a substantially weakened Western culture. Meanwhile, Switzerland, Germany and France have enriched their societies with 5 to 10% Muslim populations. Additionally to the self-inflicted social decline, we have ultimately invited the executors of change in our European countries. Therefore, the second conclusion must be, if there is no recollection towards traditional norms and values in our societies, most of our European heritage will be lost in 1 to 2 generations' time. The only silver lining might be the latest generation's set. These young people are far more conservative in their attitude and outlook towards life compared to the previous 3 generations. Yet it will take decades until this generation is in charge of policies within our Western Hemisphere. The second impression from my Swiss journey has got the title Opera for Everyone. During a surprise visit to Zurich on a lovely Saturday afternoon in June 2017, I couldn't believe my eyes when I met an unbelievable crowd of people in front of the Zurich Opera, which is close to the Bay Area of the Lake of Zurich. A local explained there shall be more than 10,000 people gathering because of a public open-air opera display on a huge screen. Generally, I like the idea of involving the general public with culture and art, and opera is certainly worthwhile sharing. In my estimate, about 30% of the audience was enjoying the performance of the world-class artists on the screen. But further back, the crowd wasn't paying any attention to the events and had settled with their own multicultural and multi-ethnic public festival, with beer, food and noise. Could it be that these are the early signs of the future to come, with a new unrooted Swiss society, with no interest in and understanding of Swiss and European culture? I leave it with that and appreciate your comments. Thank you for watching and be well.